Neovim is by far my favorite text editor. Install JavaScript because we say ensure installed, yes, install command. And it's, what have we done in this episode? Well,
Hey, happy Thursday. We're almost done with the week. A little later in the day for me for some lunch, but had some meetings and whatnot. Okay, so what are we doing today? Today we are continuing on with some distraction that I came up with instead of working on some actual side projects or maybe something that, I mean, somebody may say it would be more meaningful, but I've decided to take a little side quest down this Neovim rabbit hole, which is what I started doing yesterday, and I'm going to continue on today. So I found this really great course on this YouTube channel called Typecraft. And it kind of goes from beginning to end. I watched all the videos first before I even tried to do any of this, but I basically watched all these videos, and after watching them, I thought, yeah, I think I could follow this and end up with an editor that could potentially replace VS Code, which is typically what I use. And I just think Neovim kind of looks cool. It looks cool when people are editing with it. It looks cool aesthetically. So we went through video 1 yesterday and basically got to the point where I have Neovim set up. It's got some configuration, right? So I can do like fuzzy finding. I can gret for things. So where I was though yesterday was I was getting this error. Or hold on, never mind. I guess I don't have an error. But I was getting an error when I open up. Yeah, this error. I was getting this error with. I guess it's coming from Neovim. It's coming from one of my plugins. So let's see. We go Control P, knit.lua. It's coming from one of my plugins. I'm pretty sure it's down here. This auto install. So from Tree Sitter. I think it's coming from Tree Sitter. So Tree Sitter provides parsers for different languages. One second. Sorry, my dog was bothering me. Also, let me turn the music down here. The music's kind of loud. I always forget to do that. Anyway, so Tree Sitter provides parsers that provide the highlighting and the indentation for different languages. And so I turned on this feature doing, which basically auto installs the parser. And so I think when Neovim initializes and this plugin loads and runs and configures itself, it's having an issue finding a C compiler, which I think it needs the C compiler to do Lua stuff. Is what I think is happening. So I need to do a little Googling about that error. So invim init Lua. Let's see. What does the error say? Error executing Lua. So Neovim Tree Sitter error executing Lua. And I think basically what I need to do is I need to have I need to install a compiler, a C compiler. So Lua. Maybe Windows. A C. Oh, here we go. A C compiler in your path. Windows users, please read this. So I'm not the first guy. Okay. So which C compiler will be used? Since this is using the well-tested compilers that we use on Linux and Mac OS, it should work fairly well without any surprises. Okay, I'm just gonna, since this is the first one, I'm just gonna follow this. I already have Git, but I need to install MingW using Chocolatey. And I don't think I have Chocolatey. Run as administrator. But I think I'm gonna have to install Chocolatey. Oh, nope, I have it. Okay, cool. Do I want to run it all? Yes. So this is going to be giving me my C compiler. And I'm having to do this. He doesn't have to do this in the video because he does. So he sets up his tree sitter with ensure installed instead of just auto installing, which I think is the reason maybe why. Well, actually, I think if I did this and I had Lua in there, it would probably still throw the error. So he must just have a C compiler already installed. Okay, it was successful. So let's exit this. And actually, let's. I'm gonna keep some notes. Need to have C compiler installed. I'm just gonna link right to this. I should probably take these notes in Neovim, huh? Yeah, I should do that. Okay, so let's let's just say mvm setup notes.md. Okay, so need, hold on, gotta go into insert mode. Need to have C compiler installed. Escape, write that out, quit. And actually, let me just keep that. I'm going to keep this open over here and then make a new tab. CD back to the config directory. Let's see. Yeah, so now I didn't get the error because I had refreshed my environment. So let's refresh env and then in them setup notes. Okay. So, oh, and you can see the tree sitter auto install just worked for Markdown, right? It just installed the Markdown parser. So yeah, so okay, so that's working. Let's also, there's a way to split this. Yeah, split. Well, I don't know. That doesn't look like it's any better. Okay, so that's my config. Okay, so that was the end of the first video. Now that I've overcome that error. Yeah, so that's the end of the first video. So now we can move on to part 2, which, like I said, I've watched all these previously. So I kind of have an idea of what he's going to have us do. So I'm kind of speed running. Basically what he's...
which is the thing we're going to be using to highlight our code and also indent it, and it works awesome. So that's the base of
basically what we do in this video is we basically refactor this Lua config, which is kind of a hodgepodge messiness of just different things, and basically split it into separate files and kind of modularize it in kind of an established pattern. Let's see here. So let's jump ahead a little bit. Oh, he's having us actually. So to start with, we're going to add a new plugin called Neotree. So let's get that going. Neotree. And we just need to come down here. We need to grab that. And then we're going to go up to our plugins. Should be using the motions. And we're just going to escape and then paste. And then if we go into visual mode, I should be able to select all this and then indent it. Nice. Okay, we're still in normal mode, so we can go down here. Visual mode. Select all this. Delete it. Add a line. Escape. Yeah, and I should also say I'm a total noob when it comes to Vim motion, so I'm figuring all this out as I go here. So if it looks like I'm slow and it looks like I'm like paused in my tracks, it's because my brain is like short-circuiting, trying to figure out what keystrokes I should be pressing. Okay, so yeah, so that's Neotree. That's what he did. He added that. Yep. And then is there anything else? Oh, he talks about nerd fonts. I already have a nerd font because I use Oh My Posh in my PowerShell config. So I already have a nerd font set up for that purpose. Oh, okay. So I need to reload. So I'm going to write this out. I'm going to quit. I'm going to reload Neovim. And it's installing those plugins I added. Success! So I can escape that. Let's see. And then I think what he's showing us is how to use NeoTree. So if we say NeoTree, file system, reveal, write. There we go. Okay, so now we have a file tree in the terminal, which is kind of cool, right? And so I think this is what he's going to have us, if I remember right, this is what he's going to have us use to refactor to that more modular design. That's the other thing I kind of like about the way he presented this course is like, he's like walking you through configuration, but as he's doing it, you're forced to also use Neovim to do the configuration. So like you almost are forced to then figure out how to move around and edit and remove and delete. Like it's like double dipping your learning, right? Because you're learning about how to configure it and how things work, but then you're also getting practice trying to use those Vim motions, which is nice. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Okay, so he's adding a new key mapping. Or something. Oh, he's adding a key mapping to basically to do that same command that we typed down here. That I typed down here. We're going to add a key mapping for it. Or a key map. Okay, so I should be able to say init Lua. And then I can jump down here. And I guess probably makes sense to just put it with the other key maps, I guess. So we'll say say vim.keymap.set in normal mode. What do you say? Leader in. I don't know if I like that. Maybe I do. Maybe actually for me, I do Control B because that's how I do it in VS Code. Control B opens the right or the primary sidebar. So I'm just going to keep that muscle memory. So I'll say Control B, and this should execute this command: NeoTree file system reveal. And he did left. I'm going to do right. The other thing I don't like is I don't like that it's wrapping. So how do I turn that off? Vim turn off line wrap. So that's the Vim version. I need the Lua version. Vim turn off line wrap Lua. So can I just see, go up here? I guess I can just add another command like that and say vim dot cmd set no wrap like that. Write that out. Quit, Neovim. Attempt to index global a nil value. Oh, crap. What have I done? Quit, and I mean it. Neovim init Lua. I think I needed an I there. Write that out. Quit it. Neovim. Still okay, yeah, it's not wrapping anymore. Okay, cool. So that worked. Hold on one sec. My dog just can't stop licking himself sometimes. It's so annoying. I find it to be like the most distracting thing he does. Okay, what am I doing? What the hell am I doing? I'm setting up NeoTree so that it has this key map. So let me make sure that works. Quit, and I mean it. Neovim. So now if I can push Control B, it should open that guy, which it does. Okay. So now that I've got that, what are we going to do next here? Yeah, this is where he talks about modularizing your plugins.
You can add a file called plugins.lua. And if that file returns a Lua table with all of our packages, what we can do is change what we have right now, which is kind of this messy sort of require lazy.setup with a local variable of plugins, which is a table that has all kinds of crap in it, to just something like this. And that looks pretty cool to me. So let's do that now. Essentially what we can do is just grab this local variable here. Let's delete that. And then inside of NeoTree, we want to add a new directory and file. So let's hit A for add. And we want to do lua/plugins.lua. Hit enter. That creates the new file and the directory that file resides in. So if we go into plugins.lua, we can paste what we had before. And let's just change this to a return statement where we merely... Okay,
so let's do that. Okay, so first thing he did was he took this all out and he just put a string here called plugins. Then he went up here. So now we need to go to visual mode. We're going to take all of this and we are going to cut it or yank it. No, we're going to delete it, which puts it in. So like deleting in Vim is like cutting. So I'll push D. That will remove it. Then what I can do is I can say, okay, Control B, and then I can say, I can go up to the directory, click A, and then this is just like in VS Code, you can declare directories and file structures. So we'll say, what did he say? He said Lua /plugins.lua. Then we'll open that. And then in order to paste, we're going to type P. And then we should go into insert mode. No, escape. Go down. Now insert. Actually, escape. Go over. I. Yeah, like that. And then we're going to want to write that. So we write it. and we can close it, and then let's see, we should be able to quit. And then if we open Vim again, everything should basically work the same. But now our plugins are being resolved through this guy. Instead of this guy. Okay, so let's do some cleanup here. Do Shift V, delete that whole line because we don't need it anymore. Let's see, visual mode. Shift V, delete. Yeah, okay, so that's all he's done so far.
Let's return a Lua table that contains all of our configurations. Now if we go back to our init.lua, we can make sure that we're requiring lazy and setting up with just a string of plugins. Now what will happen here is lazy is going to automatically load our file because we specified the string plugins, and that's all we have to do right now. So let's quit Neovim and reopen it, and everything works. Okay, awesome. Now, as you might have caught in the documentation, there's a special directory that will be loaded and reloaded on change for plugins. And the documentation explains it here. Some users may want to split their plugin specs in multiple files. Instead of passing a spec table to setup, you can use a Lua module. The specs from the module and any top-level sub-modules will be merged together in the final spec, so it is not needed to add require calls in your main plugin file to other files. What does this mean? Well, essentially, if you structure your file system the way that Lazy expects you to,
this is
that Lazy will load all the.
This is where he basically talks about the modular structure. So now we're basically going to create. A plugins directory. And then in here, we're going to have a file for each of the plugins, essentially. So this is going to be, I'm going to call it theme.lua, because I don't think I'm going to stick with the capuchin. I don't know how to say it. I'm not going to probably stick with the theme that he chose. Yeah, so while I don't think we need to, I think I can do this without famous last words. I think I can do this, so I'll say A. Well, actually, let me open my plugins first. Then go back to my tree. So we have our theme. We have neotree.lua. Then we're also going to need telescope.lua. And then we're going to need tree sitter. Wait, I have a duplicated plugin there, don't I? I have two neotrees in there. Okay, so neotree, telescope theme, and tree sitter. So tree sitter.lua. Okay, then I'm going to go back to my plugins, and I'm just going to start pulling stuff out of here. So we'll go Shift V, D, then we'll go to theme.lua, and this will be returning put. But we don't like that, so we'll come up here. Then we'll add some new lines to make this look okay. So what do I want to do? W goes to here. W goes to there, insert, then we can get rid of that. Then we can write that out. And then we'll go back to plugins. And now we'll go visual mode. This can actually all be deleted. And now we'll do telescope. So visual mode, select all this. So delete that, then go to telescope.lua, return, escape, put, delete that, jump down, go over here. I don't know how, it's going to take me a while to get used to the motions. Let's see. Whoops. What do I want to do here? I want to go up. I want to go backwards. Nope, not there. Not there. There. And I want to jump. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. Write that out. Now what do? We want to go back to plugins. We want to then grab this guy, which is our tree sitter. Let's see. Shift V highlights the whole line, then we delete it. Then we go tree sitter, and we say return. Put that there. God, this is taking so much mental energy just to think through the navigating the editor. I can see why people try this and then give up almost immediately. My dog won't quit this afternoon. He just will not quit. Okay. Yeah. I was saying that I can see why people give up on this pretty rapidly. I can see though there's moments where like I hit the right keystrokes and it's like, oh, I see why people do get kind of ate up with it. Okay, so we'll go back to plugins, and this is our last one, isn't it? Yep, that's our last one. So we'll go visual mode. Visual mode down here. We'll delete resitter. No, is this Neotree? Neotree, yeah, Neotree. Return, and we'll put there. The formatting's a little off. Ugh. Tab. Okay, write that out. Go back to plugins one more time. And then I think we're done with this file for the most part. I think we still have to have it here. But we're not going to actually put anything in it. Okay, so if I quit this, quit all of these, all of them, say Vim, and everything continues to work. And so we're back here, and I think after he does all that, so this is just, I'm just going to speed run through him. Oh. So he talks about it here, right here, where basically
stuff over into our cappuccine.lua configuration file that returns a Lua table. But how do we do that? Well, Lazy has a special property that it looks for called config. Config is executed when the plugin loads.
Yeah, so basically there's some stuff here we're doing here, like for example for our theme. We're doing this right here. Whoops. We're doing this right here to set up that theme. And so we can move that into the plugin file we just made called theme. And we can basically add a special property, which is what he was just talking about. And we can basically have a property called config, and this can be a function. And then in this function, we can do stuff. We can basically do the same stuff that we were doing in our init.lua. So we can say, let's see, down. We can say visual mode. We can grab all this and then go back to our theme. And then we can just paste this in here. So, sorry, P. That. Write that out. Back to init.lua. Write that out. Quit all. Load it back up. And it all still works. Okay, so then we need to do that for the rest of our stuff, which is what I think he's doing right now. So basically anything that your plugin, any setup or configuration that your plugin requires should go in that config function is what I'm understanding. Which means we need to do this. Init Lua. So this is for telescope. Well, these are key mappings. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this stuff, right? So visual mode. This is going to come with me. Telescope, yeah, those are all telescope related things. And so we're going to go here. We're going to jump down to this guy. And if I push O, yep, that dropped me there. File a function. And then I'm going to put, oops, I grabbed an extra V, didn't I? And then we'll have an end. Back to visual mode. We will, oops, we'll go back to visual mode. And then we'll indent all this like that. Then we want to write that. And we want to go back to init Lua. And we need to fix this. Whoops, we need to fix this. Okay, so this is part of NeoTree. So we'll do Shift V, delete, go NeoTree. big equals function. Put that. Over, cut that out. Plug in, no, vanilla Lua. Okay, then we need to do the same thing with tree sitter. So we'll still be in visual mode. We'll take all this down here and delete it, and then we'll go to tree sitter Lua. Go down here, big equals function. And then I think if I do Shift O, no, Control O, no, I thought it was capital O. Oh no, if I'm in normal mode and I do capital O, that puts me up here. And then I can do that, visual mode, indent this, and then delete this line, write that out. Let's see, unit Lua. Okay, so I think that's all my plugin stuff. I'm also gonna add some spacing here. I don't know what the convention is in Lua. Whoops. But I like me some spacing. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Yeah. God, my brain, like literally my brain freezes as I'm thinking about like what button do I need to push. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's all he does here. I think we're getting close to the end of this video, and we're getting close to the end of my lunch break here. So he's just continuing to break it up, and he basically gets to where we are.
Open NeoTree. I can use telescope. Everything appears to be working well. We have tree sitter highlighting everything, and that is awesome. Okay, now one last thing I want to do here is copy over our Vim settings to a new file, just to break this up a little bit more and be a little bit more consistent with what we're doing. Instead of having these settings in our init.lua, I want to put them in a different Lua module. So I'm just going to type out what I expect to require. I'm just going to call it Vim options. I'm sure there's a much better name, but I'm tired and can't think of anything interesting. So we require Vim options, and then in NeoTree under our Lua directory, let's create a Vim/options.
So Lua kind of has that module idea like JavaScript, right? It's even using the same require keyword. So basically, if I understand what he's doing, he's basically going to go here into the Lua directory, and he's going to create a file called vim.options.lua. And then he's going to go back to init. And he's going to take everything up here at the top. So these are the Vim options that we're setting. Go into visual mode, jump down here. Take that out, go to Vim options. And then we don't need to return anything here because this isn't a plugin. This is just these are basically, we want these function calls to be executed when init.lua runs. So we just stick them at the top level of the module, I guess you would say. Yeah, so we just put those there. I'll write that out. And then we just need to require that like he did initially. So down here, we're just going to say require them options. Write that out. Actually, write all. Is there a write all? And quit all. If we load everything back up, it all should still work. Nope, I made a typo somewhere. Failed to load. Okay, I made a typo somewhere. Now I can't use any of those plugins because they didn't load. So I gotta envim the ls envim init lua. Okay, so I think this is all okay. It's in one of my plugins that I think is an issue. So envim lua plugins Neotree. I don't think that's it. Resetter. I'm guessing that error message is telling me where the problem is. If I read this close enough. Plugins.neotree. Expected to close at line 1 near config. Telescope Lua 5. Expected to close at 1. Well, I didn't change anything about those. Did I? I don't think I changed anything about those files. So, envim then options. Failed to load plugins on Neotree. Well, this is kind of painful to figure out what I've done wrong here, huh? Let's see. That all looks right, doesn't it? Oh. I need to add that guy there. And I bet I did that everywhere, didn't I? Close. Let's see. Neotree. I fixed that one. Same thing here. Close that. Yeah, it's just tree sitter now. Okay. Okay, well, that was a really dumb mistake that caused minutes of pain. There we go. Now we're back in business. This is such a silly thing I'm doing. I'm spending so much time setting this up, but I don't know. It's fun. It's like I'm learning something new. It's interesting because it's also a different way of thinking. It's a different way of working with your fingers and on your keyboard. Yeah, I don't know. Learning's fun. Okay, so let's go back over here.
We can just delete all of our and see an easy plugins here. Almost stupid. Include the configuration that you want. A couple other Neovim status line written in Lua.
Oh,
so
yeah, he's gonna have us add a new plugin.
URL from GitHub and create a new file and start.
So I think I can do this myself. Lua line. Let's see, Lua line. So if we stick with our structure here, we need to go to our plugins folder and we need to add a new file that's going to be called lualine.lua. That's not confusing at all. Then we're going to go in there and we're going to return a new table, and that table is going to be in vim dash lua line / lua line dot invim. And then we're going to say dependencies equals another table. I think it's interesting that Lua calls these tables, because to me they're just objects or dictionaries. I need to read up on that. There's probably a good reason for that name, but I don't know what it is. Close that. Write that out. So now if I quit this, if I quit and I reload, LazyVim should just install that. Nice. Which I think is what he does. Yeah, so he just goes in there, he adds oh, looks like he's using a specific theme. So we go Lua line, and then we go put the comma there. Config equals a function that's gonna end. Whoops. Delete. Oh, and then we say require Lua line dot setup. That's where we're gonna put our options. And it's gonna be options equals that. Okay, write that out. Width. Yeah, and then you can see my status This, what can you? I don't know if you can see my status bar down here changed colors. It looks different now. Okay, and is that the end? Yeah, that's the end. So now we should go to episode 3. I'm not gonna have time for this though. An hour. I've been on here for an hour already. Yeah, I'm not gonna have time. So in this episode, this is when you kind of get to like the cool stuff, which is where you're using language server protocol to actually do some cool language like features with the editor, which is right. That's a lot of the value, a ton of the value that something like Visual Studio or a real IDE gives you. So that you can do all that stuff like go to definition, go to implementation, you can get code actions. But I'm not going to have time to jump into that right now. So I'll do that again sometime. Next time I stream. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I hope people that stumble across this maybe find it helpful, because I'm a complete noob doing this. I've never done it before. And I found the whole Neovim configuration super intimidating. And not maybe intimidating is the wrong word. I guess it just looked like there was a lot of work, right? And if you've ever done anything with programming or just computers, anything technology in general, right? You know that like half of your time setting something up is going to be troubleshooting and researching obscure errors and issues that you run into. And so that's why for the longest time I just kind of like admired other people, right? That had a nice Vim or Neovim setup and could do really quick, cool editing things. But yeah, I just huge shout out to this guy Typecraft. This course is just super well done. It's like everything you need, right? He even goes into at some point we'll go into like setting up debuggers and all that good stuff. He doesn't. The one thing he doesn't, as a quality engineer, the one thing he doesn't touch on that I feel like he should go back and add a video to is testing, right? Like one of the nice things in VS Code is the test runner. That's one of the nice things in Visual Studio is the test runner. But he really doesn't go through setting up or integrating a test runner into your setup here. But other than that, yeah, just you should go subscribe to his channel. You should give this course a go too if you're interested. Yeah, that being said, lunchtime's over for me. It's going to be the end of the stream for today. Hope you guys are having a good week. Hope it's ended on a good note. I'll see you guys next time.